What is up, YouTube? This is T-Quinn1 coming at you with another video, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. What an awful title. Why not just keep it Dead Reckoning Part 2? Final Reckoning sounds like a parody movie on The Critic. Despite that, besides James Gunn's Superman, Final Reckoning was my most anticipated film of this year. I've been a big fan of these movies ever since I saw Ghost Protocol all the way back at age 12, and Dead Reckoning, the previous film, was my favorite movie of the year 2023. And I was eager to see the conclusion to Ethan Hunt and his IMF crew's story. Did it live up to the hype? No. Was it a satisfying conclusion to the franchise? Kinda, yeah. I'm very mixed in my feelings toward The Final Reckoning. I can't think of another example of a movie that does work as a conclusion, but doesn't totally work as a movie beyond that. Let's talk about the reason for my divided thoughts. This is the most plot-heavy movie in the Mission Impossible series. A lot of the first hour is just characters going, hey, remember when that happened? Good, because it's more important than you think. And as a franchise that has always been a cut above most modern adventure films, it's disappointing that so much of the beginning of this movie is just a bunch of guys walking out and getting applause. The first and third films especially get a lot of play. Retroactively tying them into Dead Reckoning story seems a little forced. There's an especially bizarre retcon involving Shea Wiggum's character that left me baffled. I was a little worried when I found out the movie was 3 hours long. Don't get me wrong, a bigger runtime is fine as long as the story justifies it, but there definitely could have been some cuts made. Again, as much as I love the other movies, all the nostalgia bait just fell flat for me. I was also kind of bummed that Ethan's team seemed to get sidelined a bit in this one. It's always been the Tom Cruise show, of course, but in recent years, the other members of the IMF have become beloved characters in their own right. Simon Pegg, who gives a great performance, doesn't feel like he adds all that much to the movie, sadly. It's not the case all around. I like that Palm Clementieff's Paris got some more development in this movie, and Haley Atwell straight up gives the best acting of her career as Grace. I do want to especially highlight Ving Rhames as Luther, too. The guy has been with us since day one, and despite the changes in directors and tone and all the other ways these movies have shifted over the years, the consistent presence of that character has eventually morphed into the heart of the series. And in my opinion, they gave him one hell of a send-off. Finally, as much as I've bitched about the shoehorning of characters, I did really like what they did with Dunlow from the first movie. I thought his storyline was touching, and it reminded me a little of when they brought Kittredge back in the last movie, making the stakes feel real by bringing in a character not seen since the first film. Albeit Dunlow plays a very different role from the antagonistic Kittredge. In the other movies, the exposition stuff is usually kept to a little message in the beginning, and then you get what you paid to see. The mission. Tom Cruise almost dying for our entertainment. The Hitchcockian winding of tension and the stunts so good there should be a museum dedicated to them. Now, you gotta wait quite a bit longer for that stuff here, but the thing is, once Final Reckoning does eventually turn into a Mission Impossible movie, it's pretty incredible. Outside of George Miller, I think Christopher McQuarrie might be the greatest action stylist of the modern age. There's no muddy green screen messes here, only purposeful and gorgeously crafted stunt work and set pieces. That biplane sequence on the poster, my mouth hung open in amazement for that entire sequence. And the standout to me had to be the submarine. Whatever else this summer holds, that is a movie moment that's going to stick with me for a while. It felt like Mission Impossible at its best. I wish more of the movie felt like that, but it was still some incredible filmmaking. All in all, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is a mixed bag. Definitely a bit of a letdown after all the hype, but not unsatisfying either. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This is T-Quint1 signing out.